Good evening, everyone. It is Alex yet again, and I am going to step through how to install C Sharp for the .NET Core framework on your Visual Studio Code. It's really simple. So I've already got it installed here, but I'm going to step through the steps on how you do that. So you'll want to have a terminal running, and then you'll also want to be in a workspace. So I'm going to create a folder in my workspace. Call it directory Alex. And then you'll want to also have Git installed on your machine as well. So I'm going to navigate to that folder. I'm doing a Git init. And that initializes the folder for to be a Git repository. Now, what you want to do is you want to come down here to the extensions. And in the extensions, you want to type C#. And what that does is it gives you all of the extensions that have C# available. So you want to click on the one that says C# from Microsoft. You want to install it. Once you get it installed, you can set your color theme. I set mine to dark. And then there's a couple of other things that you want to get to. You want to get C# extensions. You'll also want to get C# snippets as well. And then one thing I am going to grab real quick is the C# fix format as well. Excuse me. Bam. So that's installed now. So we'll go back to our code. Let's close that extension window. And so now I'm going to show you how to do this on the command line. So I'm in my folder, my Alex folder. And I'm going to create another folder called C#. And I'm going to go into cd C#. Obviously, there's nothing in there. So now, to make sure, once you get your .NET installed, there's another place that you'll need to go to. You'll also need to go to the .NET Core framework install. So if you Google .NET Core, and the reason why you want to use .NET Core is because it runs on a multitude of different operating systems. So you'll click download .NET Core 3.1, and it's September 1st, 2020. So 3.1 is the current iteration of the .NET Core framework. So once this comes up, it'll tell you what the most recent runtime is, as well as the SDK. So what you can do is you can do one of two things. You can either, if you're using Linux, you'll want to follow the steps there. If you're using Mac, you want to follow steps there. If you're using Windows 64-bit system or an 32-bit system, you'll want to follow those there. And then obviously there's some .NET Core script installs for all operating systems for the SDK. So let me click on that one and see what we got going on there. So this will get you the install scripts for PowerShell and for Bash, PowerShell being Microsoft Bash, being for Linux-based systems. If you're on a Windows system, you can just go to the .NET Core, and I have a 64-bit system. And that includes the runtime, and it'll just download on your machine here. I'm not going to do it because I've already got it installed. So you run an installer, you'll verify your installation after it's done. So to verify the installation, you'll want to come over to your terminal and just type in the word .NET / and version. And that will tell you that you are on 3.1.302. Let me make sure that's the one I'm supposed to be on here. I think I'm actually on an older version here. I am on an older version. So I need to upgrade mine. In any case, I'm on 3.1.302. Yep, I am on a very old version here. So what you want to do, once you've got the correct version installed of .NET, is if you're going to create a C# solution, like I said, make sure you're in a folder, and I've just called mine C#, and I'm going to say .NET space create space, not create, new console, and hit enter. And if you do that, it'll give you the generic hello world template of a console application. And this is taking a while on mine because I have a little bit of a slower machine here. Over here on the left, in our folder, you'll see things start to pop up here. We've got our C# class, our C# project, an object folder with a bunch of stuff in there for configuration. And if we double click on the program.cs, we've got our C# program in there. And you can immediately run this, but first, to run it, you'll want to build it first. So in your terminal, you'll say .NET space build, and you're going to do that in the folder that your CS is in. So obviously I'm in Alex C#, and the folder that I'm in, I'll click enter. It will build my C# program, and you'll see a bin directory come up here, which will give you, if you navigate into there, once it's done, excuse me, it's going very slow. Here's our executable. So now we've got an actual executable that we can run. And to run that executable, it's .NET run in the folder where your project is at. And if you hit enter, it'll run your program. We should see hello world up there eventually. My PC needs to be restarted. And I'm recording some stuff on here too, so I'm sure I'm pegged out on my... Wow, that's blazing speed there. Oh, there it goes. Oh, that's still the pile there. There it is. So it finally did my code there. And I'm sure it's going so slow because I'm recording on a slower machine. So, yeah. So to test this, let's change a few things in here. Come in here. We're going to write another line above that one. And I'm going to put yo. And then below the hello world, I will type read key, read line actually. And what that does is it expects an input from the keyboard. We'll put a line in there and we'll say console. Right line. And we'll say press any key to continue. I'll get rid of that N, not con, 2. Semicolon. Control S to save. And And then we're going to rebuild it. So just hit up a few times and rebuild our source code into object code. No warnings and no errors. And now we're going to run our code again. And eventually, this should give us these 3 lines here in our console over here, or our terminal over here. It's just going really slow because I've got this going up here. So in any case, kind of how you do that. It's not very difficult. So if you're interested in coding in C#, that's how you want to do it. So here's our code right here. So it's waiting for an input to enter, and we get our prompt back. So if you're interested in learning C# and you don't have the overhead to run Visual Studio, or you're working on a Mac and you want to run .NET Core, or you want to create .NET apps using .NET Core on a Mac or a Linux-based box, or even on a PC, and you don't have Visual Studio because you can't run it on Mac. Well, you can't run the .NET framework on Mac or Linux, but you can run .NET Core on all 3. This is the way to do it. Hope that helps. Peace.